Hi, this is going to be a quick tutorial on, well, I say quick, but I don't actually know how long this might be. But anyway, this is going to be a tutorial on how to move items, trainers, their sightlines, and how they move a little bit, because I don't completely know everything about that, and BerryTrees. All three of these are editable via hex editing. I mean, obviously everything is, but this is all I've discovered so far. First things first, this is not a tutorial for hex editing in general, and this is not a tutorial for PK3DS, so if you have questions about those, you're going to have to seek elsewhere, okay? Second, I don't know everything about this, and I'm going to tell you everything that I do, so if you have a question about something that I don't mention in this video, it's because I have no clue and you're going to have to find out on your own. I'm going to try to give you as many tools as I can that will help you find out more if you need to, as well as, honestly, most of the basic stuff. Trainers are a bit more dubious, but I know way more about how to change the items in BerryTrees, so we're going to go into that a bit first. Now, there are multiple ways to go about all of this, but I'm going to go with the easiest way that I've found, and so let's just talk about the prerequisites first, exactly what you need. Now, first things first, you need a hex editor. I am going to be using ImHex, and I highly recommend you also download ImHex for a reason that I'll go into later, because I have made some patterns that you can download that will highlight exactly what you need in each hex code section, right? So get ImHex, and then you can download the patterns that I will show you a bit later into this video. You can also just use HXD, but I promise you it's going to be a lot harder to tell exactly what you need is where with HXD, but it's still able to be done if you feel like doing it that way. It's fine. The next thing you're going to need is PK3DS. Now, you're also going to need a special version of PK3DS. Once again, you can use regular PK3DS, but I highly recommend getting this version of PK3DS, which is the, well, here's the ImHex website, by the way. It'll be the link in the description. You'll need the Strackeror version of PK3DS. Strackeror is the creator of Pokemon Sweltering Sun. I'll also put this link in the description, but it's not needed for this specifically. I just wanted to shout out his ROM hack. This version of PK3DS is useful for reasons that I will go into very shortly as well. Those are the only two things that you're going to need, I think. That should be mostly it. You'll also obviously need an emulator for 3DS and a legally owned copy of Pokemon Ultra Sun, or the version that you want to edit. And that should be about it. This should be possible on cartridge as well, but I don't own a cartridge version to test on, so we're going to be using emulator for this. Keep in mind the method I'm going to be using is only going to be applicable to Gen 7, that's Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon, but the files that we're looking for will be in slightly different locations for each game. I am going to be using Ultra Sun, not Ultra Moon. I will show the difference between Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon soon, but they're pretty similar. I don't know about Sun and Moon, but I do know that this will work for Sun and Moon. I just don't know if the files are going to be in the same place. Also, if you don't know what PK3DS is, it just lets you edit the ROM. It has a lot of useful tools like, you know, changing level up movesets and a bunch of other very helpful nonsense. But none of that is going to be necessary here. The main thing that we're looking for is, the main reason that I downloaded the Strackeror version of PK3DS is because of AUSI right here. AUSI stands for Overworld Script Editor. The regular PK3DS, well, I guess I can actually just show it. This is the regular version of PK3DS. As you can see, I have the same folder open in both. It also has an AUSI section, but if I open the Overworld Script Editor in this PK3DS, you'll see it only has 2 tabs. This is still useful. It has 7ZS and 8ZI. Neither of these are what we're looking for, but it's okay. You can still use it to view all of the locations, which is going to be very important for editing the things that we're looking to edit here. So you can still use that to look up the locations if you want to do the hard way. I'm going to show you the hard way and the easy way. I highly recommend you do the easy way when we do this, which means download the Strackeror version, okay? I'm going to keep saying that. The difference is, in this Overworld script editor, I guess I could have kept the old one open, but it's okay, is there's also, you can straight up just use this to edit items, by the way, the Strackeror version. It has an item editor, so you can see all of the items in a certain location. This is obviously not what it looks like in the default game. There's no Gumshoe site. This is part of my ROM hack, but I haven't released the trailer for that yet. It lets you straight up edit the items, but we're not going to be using this at all, because it is not going to work exactly the same. If you don't want to edit the quantity of items, then just change the items here. It's really helpful. This is a really nice version. But if you do want to change the quantity of items, or their item balls, or their location, then you will not be clicking on this, and I'll go into detail on how to do all that stuff later. Another important tab here is experimental, which I guess I don't need to go into detail on right now, but each of these are going to be very important for our purposes. Anyway, those are the two tools you're going to need. We're going to split this into 3 sections, okay? Items, then BerryTrees, then trainers. Trainers are the ones I know the least about, so they're going to be a bit more dubious, but items I'm a little bit more sure on. There's still some nonsense there, but it's fine. We'll get into it soon. Okay, let's close the Overworld script editor for now and minimize HXD, it's not needed yet. First thing you're going to need is a dumped version of your ROM, which for me is Ultra Sun, of course. This is the dumped version. I used Hacking Toolkit 3DS to dump it. You can also just use Citra, or I'm using Azahar emulator. It's a fork of Citra, which is basically the same thing. But you can just dump the ROMs. If you do that, it should also work, I'm pretty sure. But that's not the way I did it, so, you know. Anyway, what you're going to have to do is go to your ROMFS folder. In here, you're going to see an A folder. This is where all of the game's files are. Well, most of them, not all of them. These are also game files, but the ones we're looking for are going to be in here. Now, the reason that we're actually using the Strackeror version is this makes it way easier to do exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the hard way on the left, and I'm going to show you the easy way on the right here. Now, this A folder contains the GARC files of your ROM. So we're going to be going to A0.8.2. This is going to be field data. This is the data of the overworld, basically. If you are using Ultramoon, A0.8.3 is going to be your field data. You see, this is empty because I'm Ultra Sun. Instead, this one will be empty if you're in Ultramoon. Okay? Now, I said that whole easy way on the left, hard way on the right thing, so let me just move this to the left, because this is going to be part of the hard way. In PK3DS, if you open Tools, and then go to MISC Tools, and Unpack plus BCLIM, you can unpack these GARC files. We're going to take this field area, GARC, and put it up here. I did not hold control to skip decompression. You can do that so that it doesn't take as long, but I'm just going to decompress everything because that's going to make this way simpler. It's going to take a second, but it's going to decompress every single file inside of this GARC. So you made this folder 2G. When you repack the ROM, you're going to have to remove this folder or repack it and replace this old one, but we'll get into that in a second once this is done. When it's done, you'll see Unpack Successful. There should be exactly this number of files inside of the GARC, even if you're in Ultramoon. If it's Sun, it's probably going to be different, but you'll notice this is a very specific number. It is a multiple of 11. That actually is important if you're doing it this way. First things first, this is the folder that it just created. You'll see it has all of these files. It looks like nonsense, but I promise you it is not. Let's go ahead and go to the Overworld script editor and see how this is relevant. First things first, this actually correlates to the same amount of files that are in here. There's only 335 files, or sorry, 336 because it starts at 0, of course. So there's 336 files in Overworld, and there are 3696 files in here. That's because each area has 11 different files. So all of these are part of each world file. So this Des0 is 10 Carat Beach, which is not actually what the default. It'll probably say Route 1 for you, because I've edited the name of this place, so don't look at that. But either way, it's 10 Carat Beach, the ED file. 001 is the BG file of 10 Carat Beach, and so on up until 10, which is going to be the second BG. Yeah, there's two BGs, don't worry about it. Neither one is going to be important for our purposes. And then 11 will be the next area, so this will be Iki Town. This will be Iki Town's ED, and so on and so forth. So the only ones that are going to be important for us right here is the ED file here. If you double-click on it in the Overworld script editor, you can see it has a drop-down where it has even more nonsense files. It's okay. This is annoying, but it's fine. What's important is that we can open one of these. Let's go ahead and open 10 Carat Beaches. Actually, yeah, whatever. We'll open 10 Carat Beaches, okay? This one, you can actually decompress it again, even further. And it'll give us another decompressed folder. That's right, we have to decompress it twice. Now this has all of those extra files, these ones that I had in this dropdown, are here. This is the same. Now, this is where the easy way comes in. You didn't have to decompress it twice. There's already an export button here. If you just want to use export instead of decompressing it twice for no reason, that makes way more sense. I'm recommending that you do that instead, because this is annoying, and then you also have to find each multiple of 11 file for each thing. Instead of doing all this decompression, just open this, open the file you want, and export it. Now, like I said, the only one that we're interested in is the ED, right? So just remember to double click on this and open it up. I'm going to show you on both. So the ES, no, 04ES is important for items. The second one that's important for items is 10EI. See, it's right here. The reason 04ES is because there's actually two ESs. We don't care about the second one, okay? Just the first one, 04. If you open this, you'll see that there's 3 files in it. There's not usually going to be 3. It's the same on both, right? There's not usually going to be 3. Most areas only have 1, which is just going to be 0.bin. This area is annoying because it's route 1, so there's 3 different zones that are all technically the same area, even though they're all the same loading zone. That's why there's 3 here, each for 10, one for 10 Carat Beach, then you see there's a comma, then there's one for route 1, then there's a comma, then there's one for Mele Mele C. This is going to be 10 Carat Beach is 0, route 1 is 1, and Mele Mele C is 2. Most areas will just have the 1, okay? This area is a special case, but I'm going to show it because it's the first one. Now, let's just start with 0, which is going to be 10 Carat Beach. I'm going to export it, and don't worry about how gross this looks, but I'm going to export just this as... let me name it something that is slightly less gross. Okay, I recommend just putting this in its own folder somewhere. It doesn't actually matter where you put this, but I'm just going to put it in here, okay? There. Now, that file I just exported was EDES0, right? This is going to be the first file for our items. There are going to be 2. For trainers and BerryTrees, there's only going to be 1, but items has 2 separate locations. One for the interactability and what item you pick up, and one is going to be for the Pokeball model and the collision for walking into it. So we have ES here, which I believe is the collision, and EI, which is easier to remember because the I stands for items. The EB will be BerryTrees, and ET will be trainers, so that's easier to remember than the S, which I don't really know what that stands for. But that's not important yet, we're just going to do the items first. So let's get also the 0, which is going to be the same location, 10 Carat Beach, for the items, but their actual interactability, okay? So I'm going to export that as well and get this one, which is, I'm just going to save as well. These are actually the same 2 files, so 04ES0 and 010EI0 are the same ones I just exported. I'll open this one in ImHex just so you can see that they're the same. This is 010EI. This is what that looks like, and then let me open the other. Yep, here we go. This is EI. And this one has a better name. This is why I recommend using the export. I mean, obviously you could just rename it, but they're the same. I'm clicking between them, they are the same. Okay, so we're going to use the export version because it looks better. And I'm going to actually close this now. Let me just I'll keep this folder for now because I don't want to just delete it, but it's going to stay like that for now. Okay? We're going to focus on this version. Now, this is the reason that I wanted you to use HXD. Yours might not look exactly the same as this. This is what you're going to see when you open it. Let me make this bigger, just so we can see everything. HXD, unlike, ImHex. Did I call this HXD? I think I did. ImHex has a bunch of extra stuff like tools, data inspector, a pattern editor is the important one. So first things first, there's a couple of settings down here. I highly recommend you open this little calendar-looking box, the data cell options, and switch it from hexadecimal 8 bits, which it will be for default, to hexadecimal 16 bits, just because it will be a little bit easier to see for items here, and we don't need anything that is going to be 8 bytes, so nothing that is just going to be a single 2 cells here that is relevant. It'll be relevant on BerryTrees, but it's not really relevant here. You can also, this isn't a tutorial for ImHex or anything, but it is some nice stuff to know. You can also just edit how many columns take up your screen. I'm going to leave it on the default of 16 for now, but make sure you're on hexadecimal and not, any other crazy settings. Okay. First things first, I have made some pattern files for this. So I actually made 2 pattern files. If you open the pattern editor in ImHex, which you can do by going to View, if this isn't checked, the pattern editor, just go ahead and check it and put it wherever you want. You can drag these little things around or pop them out or whatever, but I have it over here because it's convenient. In the pattern editor, you can just right-click anywhere, import pattern file. Just download that pattern file that I have in the description, both of them, because I have 2. I have item highlight and trainers and trees highlight, okay? I even put what files you need to open, which is 4ES and 10EI. This is the same ones I just talked about opening. We're going to use this fun, okay? Item highlight. As soon as you open it, you're going to see that it automatically highlights the items and everything that is needed, okay? Now this is where the setting for increasing the columns is. I actually color-coded these, so the red is the beginning of each item object, and then, so the next one is the next item, so there's currently 4 items. These are 4 different items in this location, which is 10 Carat Beach. If you increase the columns, you can make it look a bit prettier by going all the way so that they're completely lined up like this at 64 columns, since these are 64 bytes long. This way, they're all lined up and you can see each item together, but we're not going to do any of that. I just want to keep it on default for now. I just wanted to say that that's an option if you like how that looks more. Either way, I have made a whole bunch of comments in the pattern that tell you what things do. So for example, you don't actually have to look in the pattern editor, except for these comments, you do. But here in pattern data, which is another workbox that you can check, pattern data shows everything that has been highlighted by the search. So, for example, we have a bunch of items, each a certain number of bytes long. We have item 0, which starts here, so you can actually click in the pattern editor. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Or in the pattern data, and it'll tell you exactly where. So the first item, which is item 0 here, there are 5 total items in this doc. I think one of them is actually a false positive. That happens sometimes because my pattern is bad, but it's okay. Let's go to the second item, right? If I click on the second item, object type, it takes me right here to the object type. Don't change the object type, okay? That just means that it's an item. I don't recommend changing that. You can also see there's a whole bunch of information here that's not really relevant. You can right-click here and disable the ones that aren't very important to you. I recommend keeping only the comments. That's what's most important because I wrote those. These comments are going to tell you what each thing does. So for example, the item object type, which is the start of each item, this red section here, it tells you that items all have OA as the type, and the items are all going to be together. Everything is commented, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Now, you can just read the comments to tell you what is able to be changed and what you should and should not change, but I'm going to go over everything myself here real quick, okay? So first off, I just talked about this. This is the item type. Don't change this. The orange section here, this next one, is 3 floats that are the coordinates. This is important because this shows you where the item is. Now, just changing this will not move the item. I'll go into that in a second, but just changing that on its own won't move the whole item. You're actually going to have to change the coordinates in 4 different places to move the item completely. But we'll talk about that in a second. These are the item's coordinates. This yellow section is the item's quaternion. If you don't know what a quaternion is, it is the item's orientation in physical space. Not its coordinates, but literally which way it's facing, whether it's facing towards the sky, towards the ground, towards the east-west. It's the direction that it's facing, okay? It has 4 different coordinates. All of them are not going to be very interesting here. Each one is, like, see, item rotation W is just these, this 32 bits. This X is another 32, then Y, then Z. They're not going to be very interesting looking for items because the items are just going to be Pokeballs, right? So those are always going to be facing forward. I don't recommend changing this for items, but it will be relevant when we get to trainers. This next thing is the ROM version. Don't change this. I'm pretty sure it will be 01 on Ultra Moon. It is currently just 0 for Ultra Sun. I haven't actually checked Ultra Moon, so either way, don't mess with it. It should still show up in the highlight. The next thing is the flag work. Again, don't change this. It's unique to each item, so I wouldn't bother changing it. You can test around with it if you want, but it didn't seem to change much for me and sometimes crashed my game, so I won't change that. Next is the flag work number related to flag work. I won't change that. Next is the event ID, which I assume is related to the event ID on the map, based on like what thing you can interact with. Don't change it unless you know what you're doing or want to mess with it just to see what it does, but it's not important for what I'm trying to change. The next thing that actually is relevant is item ID. These 16, I actually have it labeled as a 32, but it's not, it's just 16, okay? Which is just the 0000C, these 4. That is the item ID. That is actually what item you are going to be putting in that location. What does that mean exactly? Let's go to PK3DS. So, in the Overworld script editor, I have obviously changed the items that are here. C is the item index. If you go to Bulbapedia, I'll also put this in the description, but this is literally just on Bulbapedia. It's all of the items in Gen 7. It shows their exact, it even shows their hex, which is what we're going to be using. C is literally just Premier Balls. So I put some Premier Balls there, right? If we go to the Overworld script editor, you can see that this index 1 and 10 carat each is actually Premier Balls. So you'll see that that's the same. The reason I recommend changing it in hex is because if you edit the one here, it will change the quantity of items on the ground back to 1, which is the default. I'm going to be changing how many Premier Balls will show up when you pick it up so that you can pick up multiple at a time instead of just picking up 1. Now, that item ID, you can change it here. I can actually just edit this. If I want this to not be a Premier Ball and instead I want it to be a Quick Ball, I can do that. If I let's change it to something more complex. I could make it TM76 by just making it 0193, okay? I could change this to 0193, and then hit save, and then when I open the game, it will be that. I want it to still be Premier Ball, so I'm actually not going to change it, but you could change it if you wanted. The second part of item ID, I think, is not actually, it's something else, but I wouldn't change that. It's not really relevant right now. The next thing is the item quantity, which right now I have it as 64, which if you go to your data inspector, by the way, it'll tell you the values of everything. This looks a bit complicated, but all we're really looking for, since this is only 16 is 100. So you can actually change the values by just changing it here as well. So if I want, if I don't want to have to use a hex converter to convert 100 into hex, which is 64, it's not actually 64, this is 100 in hex. which is why it's 100 here. If I don't want to use like a hex converter online, which you could do, I can also just type in a number. So if I want you to pick up a certain number, like 452 Premier Balls, I can change it and it'll automatically convert that to hex for me. So now when I go to pick up these Premier Balls, I'll get 452. This goes up to 999 without crashing your game. Don't put it higher than that, it won't work. You can set it to anything. Normally it'll just, like almost all your items, I'm pretty sure, not almost all of the items you see in the base game will just be this, which is just 1. You can change it from 1 to 999. So I'm going to set this back to 100 because that's how many Premier Balls I want the player to pick up when they touch that item. This next thing is the shape type. The shape type is exactly what type of item it is. It is literally like the model of the item. It's not actually the model, because changing this doesn't change it in thing. If you hover over this, it actually will tell you what I wrote down. 9 is items that appear later, after Nanu. Like some items pop up later. The Arceus plates is what they're supposed to be, but they don't spawn at the beginning of the game. They only spawn after you beat the Dark Trial. So those are items that appear later. I'm not sure exactly what 9 means, but these Premier Balls won't show up until you beat Nanu, is what that means, basically. 08 means the item is hidden. Hidden items will not have a model. I don't know how to make hidden items visible, so please don't ask, because I tried. And if you figure that out, please tell me. I'm pretty sure you're going to have to expand this file to add more models so that hidden items can be visible. They're not visible by default, and they don't have a model, so I won't be able to edit it. 0 is just regular red Pokeballs. 01, which, you know, is just 1, is going to be yellow Pokeballs like TMs. You can change anything into a yellow Pokeball, and it'll work, but changing this value specifically won't actually edit what it looks like in the world. So I don't think this particularly matters, but there is a way to change it in the next file that I will show. Moving on, we have the attention ID. Don't touch it. Any of these that I have set as gray in my pattern, I don't recommend touching. I also just put don't touch in my comments. so you know, don't touch it if you don't really need to. The collision offset, I assume, moves the collision of the item to somewhere else, but it was kind of being weird, and I wasn't really sure if it was working, so I'm not really sure if it does anything, and you shouldn't really move the collision off of the Pokeball itself, so I don't really think you should touch it. But you can, if you want. And that's the end of items. So it will be, Jesus, why am I confused? That's the end of one item. It'll move on to the next item next once you hit another one of these red sections, okay? That's an entire item. Now, I did mention before that there are 4 locations that an item needs to be edited in. So I showed you how to edit the actual item and the quantity that you pick up. Now I'm going to show you how to move the item. You might have noticed that there's other sections that are highlighted down here that weren't the same as these regular items. This is the object collision. This is the collision of the items. So this is one entire item collision. There are currently 4 on this map. Or actually, I don't think this is the collision. This is actually the interactability of the item, which is slightly different. The collision is on the next one. Either way, you're going to have to change this. You can see that the coordinates, CE00469, example, is the same as the coordinates for this first item. So this first item, which is what, D4? Hold on, let's check what D4 was. What did I put here? Roat berries. Yes, Roat berries. For Roat berries, these are the coordinates. You need to change them both here. Make sure that these are the same. You'll see that the coordinates here will be the same as the ones here. Make sure that if you change them, you change both to be the same, or there will be errors. These next 2 things, this is just the object type like before, and I don't know what this is, which is why it's called item interact unknown. That's it, it's unknown. I don't know what it does, don't change it. Just change the coordinates, that's all that matters. Now, that's only one half of items. This was the, this is the interactability of the item. What happens when you touch it and what happens when you pick it up. And that was the, what file was this? I can actually just hover over this and check. That was EI. So this was 10 Carat Beach EI. ES is going to be what the item model is. It's annoying that items are in two different locations, but remember, when you open this, you can go ahead and go to Pattern Editor and just import the pattern file that I made, which is item highlight. And it'll highlight everything for you. There's a blank section here. I assume this is something, I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to change it for this. So this is going to be the item models. You're going to notice that this is... It's annoying that these are separate files because they refer to the same items in certain locations. Now this can be a bit confusing because there's a different number of item models here than there were items. If you remember, back in this file, there's only 4 total items. There's 4 items here. There's more than that in this file, which is what makes this more annoying. But there is a way to match them and tell which one is which. Before we get into that, I'm going to talk about all of this. So this is item model here in the pattern data that it's seeing. Item model is what we're looking at here. So there's model object type, which is the red one like before. There's the coordinates, just like before. It's the coordinates, the X, Y, and Z of the item model. Then there's the quaternion, which is its rotation in physical space. This one is more relevant because it is actually the model of the Pokeball. So if this is not facing the correct direction, you'll notice because the Pokeball won't be looking at the camera like it usually does. Usually they're pretty good if you don't move them too far, so I wouldn't really edit this unless it looks really gross. It should be fine for items to just leave this as is since they're spheres anyway, so it's fine. The next thing is a bunch of unknowns, because I couldn't figure out what all this was. Some of this is flag work. None of it's really relevant. The event ID... The next one is the blue one, the ball model. This one actually shows what model shows up in the overworld. This one actually is important, and my comment here is actually wrong because it was different on a different map. And this is where it gets annoying. The model that it shows in the overworld is unique to each map. So you'll see here, it is 47, there's 101, there's C, which I believe is going to be regular red Pokeballs on this map, and yeah, that's it, there's just the 3. There should only always really be 3 for hidden items, yellow items, and red Pokeballs items, so as long as you see 1 on this map, it should be pretty easy to find the rest. It's just that, it's kind of annoying. But we'll get into that in a second, because it depends on what kind of item it is. I'll explain which one is which in a moment. The other important one that I even have grayed out here, and I probably shouldn't, is Model Event ID. Model Event ID... Oh no, sorry, I was looking at a different one. Where is Item Model Flag? Was that up here? It is. Okay, never mind. I was a bit confused because on this map, which is 10 Carat Beach, there's only 1 visible item at the beginning of the game. This 009 item, like I said, is an item that appears later after you beat Nanu, and these 2 items that are 8 are hidden items. So there's only 1 item here that has a model, and that's this one. The way that you can match that they have the same model on between these 2 is this event ID, C9. There's the same event ID here on this item model here. C9, event ID. They're the same. This is the same item. You can tell because they have the same coordinates. Right here. So the coordinates here, CE0046E9, etc., are the same coordinates that are used for the interactability of the item. You need to change the coordinates in this location, right here. You need to change the location in the one that matches here, which is the item object collision, or I guess the interactability. Here, right here, these 6 are the same. You need to change both, and then you need to go to this file, and you need to change them here, and you need to change them here. There's going to be a 4th one. You need to change the item coordinates in all 4 locations if you want to move the item to a different location, or one thing will be missing. Now, I didn't really mention this before, but this is similar to the interactability having its own other section of extra coordinates down here. This is actually the collision, I believe. So this is the collision of the item. If you don't move the coordinates here, you'll be able to walk through the Pokeball, which is fine. That doesn't matter as much, but I highly recommend that you actually change the coordinates here as well. Most locations will have more than just one, but this one only has one visible item. Hidden items don't appear here, and the items that appear later in the game, which are also hidden items, they don't have a model, so they don't have collision and don't show up in the ES file. Okay? That's why. Also, I said that the model was wrong. They're actually correct in my notes here. So 1D, this item is a regular red Pokeball. So that is why the ball model is a regular Pokeball. All of these other models, I have them listed as in the items doc. They're not actually items. I believe they're other interactables in the world. That's something that you can change on your own if you want to see which is which. You could probably swap these items or these models between each other, by the way. You could change them. Some of these might be trainers, some of these might be signs, some of them might be grass. I don't know. That's on you to test, and if you find out, please let me know, because that will be good information for me to update this with. Thank you. Speaking of, this is probably a bad place to put this, but if you know how to use the ImHex pattern editor and can make this better than I did, please let me know so that I may update it, because it's currently bad and has a lot of false positives. I'm sorry I couldn't fix it, and I'm tired of faffing around with it. Either way, make sure you change all the coordinates in all 4 locations for items, and you should be golden. That's everything I know about how to alter items. Once again, if you just want to change it from a red Pokeball to a yellow one, just change it from 1D to 1E, and you can make anything a yellow Pokeball. That doesn't affect anything about how the item is picked up or what it is, but you can use yellow Pokeballs for different purposes, like important items, or I don't know, whatever you want to do it for. That's how I've been doing it. Key items that pick up, I just made into yellow Pokeballs. That's it. And if you make it 0, you can make it invisible, I think. Alright, let's move on to BerryTrees. I know all of that was confusing and very rambly, I'm sorry. But, you know, that's kind of the best I got right now. Now, going back to the Overworld script editor, we're going to download the next file that we might need to edit. We're going to go into BerryTrees real quick, okay? This one is fast and actually is really easy. I probably should have started with this one because it'll make more sense. There are 2 EBs. I believe it's the second one. I think I wrote it down in the tutorial here. Oops. Where did I put those? Oh, it's right here. Trainers and Trees highlights. EB11. So it's actually not... There's 2 EBs. This one is... Wait, why is this one... Oh, there's no BerryTrees on this map. Okay, we're gonna have to go to a map with a berry tree. One second. Okay, we're gonna go with Berry Fields. That's an easy one. Berry Fields has a berry tree, so it's going to be a different map, which might be a little weird, but it's okay. I think this is actually BerryTrees. I opened it and decompressed it using, you know, the hard method. It's going to be the same file. That's 275. I know it's 275 because that's 11 times 25, which is the map, right? Hold on, let me make sure that's correct. Yeah, 11 times 25, because this is map Berryfields 25, is DC 275. So I can open this, it'll be the same files that we had in the other one. We're going to go to BerryTrees 11, and I'm going to open this in ImHex. But let's do it the way with the Strackeror version of PK3DS, because it's a bit easier. Double-click on ED, open it up. We're going to go to the second EB, which stands for berries in my mind. And then we're going to click on 0, and we're going to export it. And we have Berryfields EDEB 0, which is the one we want. And let me go ahead and open this one in ImHex. Where was it? Here we go. Berryfields EDEB 0. We're going to open this in ImHex by just dragging it in. And this is the whole berry fields, or berry tree file. It's not very big because there's only one berry tree in the berry fields, so it's not a big deal. I'm going to import the trainers and trees highlight that I've made, and it will highlight the berry trees. Now, this one's easy, so I'm just going to go over it quick. It's very similar to items, but let's just talk about it. First off, the object type. Don't change this. This just means it's a berry tree. Next is the coordinates of the tree. It says coordinates of the tree. That is a lie. It is the coordinates of the berry pile, not the tree. The tree is not interactable and is a part of the map. So this, you can move the berry pile wherever you want. It won't affect where the tree is, but you can move the berry pile if you want. I guess you could block areas with the pile and do funny stuff with it. Don't. There's no need to do that. I mean, I guess you could. It's up to you. That's what editing this coordinates would do. So, you know, go nuts. For most purposes, if you want the berry pile to remain under the tree, you don't need to change that, okay? Next is the rotation. Don't change this, although I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just the rotation of the pile. That doesn't really matter. It's going to be facing the correct direction usually, but if you want to make it look weird, you can go ahead and change the rotation. This one, I think, is just the event ID. I didn't call it that. I called it unknown one because I'm not entirely sure. I think this is the event ID of the tree. Now, the rest of this is a bunch of other unknown values that I'm not sure about. Now, the next thing, this pink one, is encounter probability. This is the probability that you encounter a Pokemon when you touch a tree. It is not going to be EEEE when you see it in your default file. I have changed it to that because that is basically 100%, and I just wanted it to be easily visible for myself. It's probably just a percentage value that is 1 to 100, but I haven't tested the values properly or tried to figure out the exact probabilities. I just set it to a high number, and it worked. Every time you touch the tree, you get an encounter. Okay? That's what that means. Now, this next one, I have it... Oh, yeah, I think this is just unknown. Pretty sure I also didn't know what this is. I couldn't figure out how to change it. Oh, sorry. I forgot to mention, for BerryTrees, you're going to want to switch from 16 bits to 8 bits because some of the 8 bits are actually relevant. Now, this first value, unknown, I don't know what it does. Changing it didn't seem to affect anything. This second value, the A, is relevant. This is the level of the Pokemon that you encounter in the tree. Now, you'd probably think that the level of the Pokemon would have been chosen in this Wild Encounters editor. I'll go in here real quick so I can show you. Now, here's the Wild Encounter editor for, Gen 7. The only one we're looking at is here, which will be a Crabrawler. So this initial encounter is what the berry tree will encounter. You can also set other encounters here in these other ones. It won't do anything. None of it matters. I had tried setting this to 1% and all these others to like 99. It doesn't do anything. It will always only encounter this very first Pokemon in the very first slot in a berry tree. Super annoying, I know. And it ignores the level that you set here in the min-max like regular wild grass does. It ignores this. It will use the level that you set right here in the berry tree file. So I have it as, what level is this? This is level 10. So if you walk into this tree, you will encounter a level 10 Crabrawler. Now, it actually will take the SOS encounters, which is strange. So if you encounter the level 10 Crabrawler, you can still SOS for all this other stuff that I had set here, the Burmy, Execute, Apom, etc. But the initial encounter will always be a level 10 Crabrawler, okay? Moving on, this is the probability to encounter a large pile. I also set this to EEEE. It's not going to be that by default. I think it's something like 10%. Or something like that. Maybe that's like 20. Either way, there are two types of berry piles. There's small ones and big ones. Big ones have more berries and have a higher chance of encountering Pokemon. I personally just wanted it to be always the big pile, so you always encounter a Pokemon and so that you get more berries. So I set this to a high number. You can set it to whatever you want, but that is what that means. That's the percentage chance to get a big pile. Setting it to this made it 100%, so that's what I did. Now this number is the minimum number of items you will find in a small berry pile. This is the maximum number of items you will find in a small berry pile. So you see I have it set from 10 to 20. So it will choose a random number between 10 and 20 berries when you pick up the pile. You can set this to FF, which is 255. You can do that. But I will warn you, when you do that, you will pick up each berry individually. And it will take a long time. I will show this. I guess I'll put this in the video. I'll edit it somewhere. You'll see it in a second. It will take a long time to pick up all the berries. Now, this is the same, which is the large pile items minimum and the maximum. It's the same as the small pile, but you can set the numbers to be different for large and small piles. Now, the next things are the items for the berries. It's not a table, well, it is a table, of berries that you can pick, but each one is picked up individually and at random. So right now, this is item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5, and item 6. You can only set 6 items to be picked up in BerryTrees. Okay? It will choose randomly from one of those 6 every time your character goes down to pick up an item. So I've set it to 95. By the way, this is in Little Endian, since it is 8 bits. The reason this is relevant, because this number will look different if you are in 16 bits. It will be 0095 rather than 9500. Bulbapedia has these items in Little Endian, or in Big Endian? I don't remember which is which, to be perfectly honest. I'm bad. But either way, 95 is cherry berries. So I have cherry berries, and 97 is pecha berries, right? So every time you pick up the pile, it will randomly choose, it's a 50% chance, since there's 3 of each, to get a cherry berry or a pecha berry, okay? That's how that works. And then it goes to a maximum of 20 items. That's how berry piles work. This last item is actually relevant. It is a... what am I trying to say? Oh, it's the item you picked up in large berry piles. So large berry piles, unlike the small ones, they use the same table, but they also have this 7th item. They will pick up this 7th item once, at the beginning when you touch a large pile. So this item, which is 0103, I believe is a leak. Let's go to it real quick. Should be up here. Yeah, it's a leak, or a stick, whatever it's called now. So I have it so that when you touch this berry pile, you will pick up 1 stick, and then it will randomly choose these items up to 20. That's how that works. This item only appears on large berry piles. It won't do anything for small ones, okay? Anyway, here's the berry pile. Normally, I don't think this berry pile in the fields can spawn a Pokemon, nor can it be a large berry pile. So since I've edited it in the way I showed you, it's actually the one I showed in the berry field section is actually exactly the same as this one. As soon as I touch this, it'll be a level 10 crab roller. Always. And it can still SOS some other stuff, which is nice. Oh, I actually should beat it because I need to show how many berries it picks up. So, yeah, you could leave and then it'll still be there. You have to actually beat the Pokemon to grab the berries. Okay, and this is what I meant by the min-maxed version. So see, it always picks up a stick first. I'm going to move this section to the more relevant part of the video, actually. That makes way more sense. But anyway, you pick up a stick first. Then it will be more berries under the tree, and it will do this each time. This is why I recommend not setting it to the highest number possible, because you literally have to do this animation for every individual berry. I don't see a way to increase the number you pick up per berry, so you have to click A 20 times. It's actually 10 to 20 times, and it's quite annoying, and I don't really know of a better way to do this, so, you know, that's kind of how it is. I'll speed this up a little bit. And then, yeah, see, I've gotten an amount of cherry and pecha berries now. I guess I can check how many I have, but I think I might have had some already, so it's probably not the correct number. Don't worry what stuff is blue and stuff. Okay, yeah. See, I have 7 cherry berries. I don't know if that's exactly how many I picked up, because I might have had some in my bag already. But either way, yeah, it picks up one at a time. It's kind of annoying. I also believe I don't think you can change, maybe it's in that file, but I don't know how to change how often the berries respawn. Normally they just respawn at midnight each day, so that's, you know, the default. There might be a way to edit it so they spawn more often, but I don't have that right now. And that's everything about BerryTrees. This one is pretty simple, compared to items at least, so there's not too much more to talk about, but it has some weird interactions with these items, so I'm just trying to warn you. Okay, last but not least is trainers. This one I'm going to warn you, I know the least about, but I'll go into what I can talk about first and see exactly how the things will be working. Now, there's two ETs. We're only going to be worrying about the top one, which is, I think 6, 7, one of those. Now, this one you're going to want to open export 0 just like before. Alright, here we go. ET. I'm going to open this real quick. And now this one has a separate, well, I guess Berryfields did as well. This one has a separate pattern. This is why I made 2 patterns. It's separate because otherwise there's a bit overlap and nonsense. But you want trainers and trees highlight 07 ET, 11 ED. This is version 1 that I'm showing. So these 3 are the trainers on this route. There's 3 trainers. This is route 1. There's only 3 trainers on this route. This is all 3 of them. Now, there's also this darkened area that I do not have highlighted. This is relevant, okay? I didn't highlight it because it's not possible. We'll go into that in a second, but first things first, let's just talk about the trainers, okay? Let's do the drop down for trainers and trainer 0. So first off, trainer object type, this is just like the item object type, don't change this. This is just the object type that tells the game this is a trainer. Next are the coordinates. These are the coordinates of the trainer. These are the default coordinates of the trainer. Some trainers move, so they have multiple coordinates, but they won't show up here. They will show up down here. Okay, this is just their starting coordinates. This next one is their rotation. This is relevant because trainers will be facing in different directions. You can change what direction they face by messing around with this, but I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't completely know how a quaternion works, so I kind of randomly had to choose directions until they were facing roughly in the right way for this to work. Next thing is a bunch of unknowns that I couldn't figure out what they do. This is the trainer's index, which I believe... hold on before I get this wrong by just saying it. I think this is actually their... Hold on, I'm going to just write it down. Where are we? Index. This is just a unique index. The next thing is the model. This is their overworld model. You can change this to change what they look like in the overworld, straight up. This will make them look different in the overworld, which is really helpful. But you can't change it to a model that isn't loaded on this map. So if you try to change this into... you know, the Elite Four member, Kahili doesn't show up on Route 1, so you can't do that. But Kukui, or Hao, does. So you could change this trainer to look like Hao. His animations will be broken, because he's not supposed to have the animations of a normal trainer, but you could do that. You could just change the trainers around. I don't know how to change it between trainers that are not on this map, so please don't ask, because I don't know. That's something you're going to have to figure out on your own. But you can swap the trainers between the ones that already exist. You can also do it between other models that exist on this map, so I think on this map there's like some non-trainer NPCs that like youngsters and lasses and also the Ultra Recon Squad that appear that you could change these into and it would work. I don't know which numbers correlate to which because I believe these are... Oh, no, I was going to say they're unique per map, but I don't think that's true. But I haven't mapped that out. If you want to help me map that out, please do so. The next one is the trainer ID. This is the trainer's ID number plus 1000. It's a bit weird, but it is literally, here, I'll just show it in PK3DS. So, for example, trainers, right? E903 is what? Let's go to the data inspector and see in 16. This is 1001. So it's the trainer's number plus 1000. This is Last Madison, right? So this calls this trainer. Yeah. So when you can change this to a different trainer to add like other NPCs to make them do that. So I could change this to 1009 and it would be How that pops up in the battle. This is not the overworld model, but it would change that it would be How's model when the battle begins, okay, if that makes sense. So you can use this to change trainers around. You can also use it to use these unknown or these unused trainers. So for example, this is an unused lass. I could rename this to be a real person and I could give them a team. And then I could change this trainer ID, and it would be this trainer. Okay? That's kind of how that works. Next is a bunch of unknown stuff that I tried to mess about with, but I couldn't really see what it was changing, so that's why it's all unknown. If you want to help me test that, please do so. And that's basically all of a trainer. Great. Yeah. This should not be empty. This actually is part of this, but it's unknown, so whatever, I don't care. Okay, now for the hard part of trainers. Now, it's actually not going to look this bad on this file, because the trainers here don't move, but let's go into this real quick. Let me think about a trainer that I want to show. So first off, let's do one that I have moved. This is 43... Oops, where am I? Oh, here we go. This is 1026. Who is that? Let me just open that in trainers, because I'm looking for youngster, whatever his name is. Youngster Kevin? No. Well, actually, yes. Okay, you know what? Let's look at youngster Kevin. Okay, on this file, I'm not at youngster Kevin yet, but you can see that normally the trainer, youngster whatever his name is, I forgot, is standing right here. Instead, I moved him to be... I was trying to put him right here, but like I said, the coordinates are a bit finicky, so I kind of had to mess around until he was there. I will show going forward how to more accurately get the right coordinates for where you want to put people and items. It'll work for both. But for now, this was my early test, so he's kind of on top. Their sightlines will go as far as you set them. I'll talk about sightlines in a moment, but you know, he's on here, so you can't avoid him now. Anyway, let me get past him and show some trainers that make a bit more sense in their location. The only problem with him being on a cliff is that now you can't actually talk to him, but you know, I'll probably move him down at some point. But I thought it was funny for him to be on the cliff. This is another trainer that I moved. This, I think, is preschooler Oliver. He is normally over there towards the left a bit where you can avoid him, and he has a really short sightline. I have changed it so that his sightline is really long and that he's in the way. So that's something that you can do as well. He's also standing a little bit in that rock, but that's okay. For now, it doesn't really matter. By the way, this will be a little bit relevant. As you can see, he had a battle animation before you fought him, but he's defaulted to just standing there once you actually beat him. That's relevant, but it's not too important yet. We'll get into that when I'm talking about how to actually change how trainers move. Okay, so I'm finally at youngster Kevin. As you can see, he has been moved, and I have extended his sightline to go all the way over there. Normally, it is not that far. I will show how that is done in a second. Now, this area I have highlighted is preschooler Kevin, right? Yeah, he's right. So this is preschooler Kevin's trainer stuff that I had just showed off before. Down here, you'll see that his coordinates are around here somewhere. They start at ECDB46. Let's look for that. Which is going to be harder because I didn't highlight this zone, so I'm kind of... here we go. Here's Kevin. So it actually starts at 4, just like... I think it actually starts at the 1 here. Maybe I'm wrong. No, that's wrong. It starts here. Trainers, they're like standing and stuff is way different than items because they are malleable. So trainers are larger depending on how many animations or movements or how much looking around they do. That's all different based on each individual trainer. So that's what makes this harder to tell exactly where it is. But this is youngster Kevin's coordinates. So you can change these. You have to change these if you want to change where he is, because you have to have it be the same as his interaction, which is here. They have to be the same, so make sure you change both. But as you can see here, there's actually 2 coordinates for him. I believe this is the same. Yeah, this is the same coordinates up here, right? Yeah, these are still youngster Kevin's coordinates, which is all of this actually. This is the same, right? You need to change all of these if you want him to work properly, but I think these second coordinates, and I'm saying I think here because I haven't done enough testing, I'm sorry. I think these second coordinates are where he stands after you defeat him. Okay? Because trainers that move around, they have a patrol path, and then they have a location that they're sent to after they're defeated where they're no longer patrolling. This isn't a good example because youngster Kevin does not move, but I think all trainers have this, and that's what that is. So you could set this to something else, and he should, I'm saying should, I could test it now, but I don't want to because it's 3 a.m. Sorry, it's, my clock's wrong, don't worry about it. It's 3 a.m., trust me. Jesus. Yeah, it will change where he stands when you defeat him, okay? Now, there's also his sight range, and I have to try to figure out exactly where that was again. I think it's this. I don't think this 99 is normal. I actually forgot which one I changed. That's why I was changing a lot of the important numbers to EE. I'll show it on a better map in a second, because I have one where I'm sure what the sight range is. But it'll also be more relevant because you'll be able to see a trainer that actually moves. So let me head there, and I'll show that one as well. Okay, I know this has been a lot, but the best place for me to show this off is going to be Howley Cemetery. The reason this is best is because there's 3 types of trainers here. There's one trainer, well, there's only 3 trainers, but there's one trainer that stands still, there's one trainer that stands still but looks around, and there's one trainer that moves around and looks around and other stuff. So we're going to go here, okay? Once again, ED, we're going to go to E trainers, and O at 0. And I'm going to export and get Howley Cemetery. And then I'm going to open this real quick. Oops. Howley Cemetery trainers. Then I'm going to import my trainer pattern. Okay, here's all 3 trainers, right? This is trainer 1, this is trainer 2, and this is trainer 3. Now, let's actually look at what they look like in-game, because then it will make what I'm saying make more sense. So this is another save file. I'm going to Howley Cemetery, which hasn't been touched on this save. Now, this is the first trainer. This is Office Worker... what's his name? I guess I could just talk to him and check. This guy will just stand here and throw his Pokeball up and down. That is relevant in a second, but I'll talk about it. This is Office Worker Jeremy. Okay, with Jeremy gone, we can actually access the rest of the route. He normally, obviously, does not stand here in the base game. He stands in a different location. But here is another trainer that I have said I need to avoid them because, oh god, the controller is trolling me. They have sightlines that I wasn't able to extend. I couldn't make them longer, and you can see they're moving a bit strange. That's because these are trainers that move. I said one was stand still and move around, but that's actually a lie. They're both trainers that move. And the reason that they're acting all weird like that is because of the way that I have altered them. First off, let's talk about how moving trainers work. So moving trainers have multiple coordinates that they walk back and forth to. I have set these coordinates to be the same, so that they will be stationary like they are now. The only problem is they are still coded to be moving trainers, and I'm not sure how completely to stop that. So instead, I have their movement coordinates set as 1 pixel off. So as you can see, when they turn around, they move up by 1 pixel, and then they do their animation, and then they'll walk back. That's basically what they're doing. If you can see, this little girl walks up and then walks down, but only by a very little bit. I still have them performing their default animations. Actually, that's not true. I'm pretty sure the little girl usually looks back and forth rather than doing this standard Pokeball throwing animation. The reason they're both doing that is because I copied whatever Pokeball throwing animation is, from office worker Jeremy here, who was always doing it. Normally these trainers have different look back and forth animations that I have overwritten. As you can see, actually, you'll notice it on this breeder here. Did you see that small cut? There was a small cut. She throws her Pokeball 3 times, then there's a cut. That's a separate animation. So I actually set both animation to just this throwing ball animation, but she actually has 2 different ones. Let's go into that. So first off, this is why I said I couldn't use a pattern to highlight exactly what the zone was. Oh, hold on, let me pause this. I can hear the music, but you can't. This Pokeball throwing. So this is what I mean by I can't highlight. This 8 starting here is 1 trainer. I've actually put my notes on the trainers down here in the comments of the pattern. So if you scroll down to Struck Trainer, everything I have about trainer movement and sightlines is written here as well, but I'll talk about it a little bit as well here. So this 8 is the beginning of the first trainer. It stops at, I think here. It's this big. It's something like this. No, it stops right there at the 4. This 4 is office worker Jeremy. 4, I believe, is the same thing that items had, which is just the collision of a circle, I believe. That's what that is. That's me speculating, but that's because a stationary trainer does not move, and I think has the exact same collision that an item ball does. That's why I think that is the case. This whole box is the breeder, I believe. This box up to the next 8 is the office worker. Where is it? Or maybe there's no 8. Maybe I was wrong about the 8. I think it might be this, actually. It's hard to tell, okay? I'm sorry. I told you I was basically guessing at this point. But this is the office worker, okay? Let's focus on this, because he doesn't move. Right? I have written a little bit of here. I have 8 as object trainers for trainers that move, 4 for unmoving trainers. Unmoving just means they don't walk around. And I talked about the Pokeball thing. The next thing you'll see is 5E, I believe, is their animation for, yeah, right here. I haven't discovered every animation set, and all of them are here, but 5E is just the animation for stand still and throw Pokeball up and down. So all these instances of seeing 5E were me changing their animation to be that. So for this breeder here, this one, I actually think it starts at the 1, not the 8, so that was completely wrong by me. Sorry. I'll fix it in my notes. But anyway, this is the breeder up to definitely the 4. Somewhere, I forgot where it was. Either way, I have replaced a couple of the animations with 5E. Right here, and right here. I don't know everything about this. I'm sorry. It's very poor, this part of the video. But it's a lot. It's because it's very confusing, so I would love help when doing this, but I'm hoping that this can give you a good start. There are multiple sets of coordinates in here, so this is... Where's the breeder? This is the breeder, I believe. I think this is coordinates. Yeah, here's the coordinates. This is coordinates. The same coordinates that are up here. They appear multiple times, but slightly different because I told you they walk up and down a little bit. This is the same coordinates again. And then, where is it? It's coordinates, and then they have, like, a... I believe this might have been sight range. These 1s and 2s are how many times they do an animation. So, where was it? This is another set of coordinates. Is this the same coordinates? I think these are the coordinates I made different than the other ones. Nope, they're the same. Never mind. They're all the same coordinate. Ah, here we go. This was the different coordinates. These are coordinates. This is their return coordinates, so this is where they walk to and then stop. at a different location. The locations, if they're a moving trainer, have to be different. Otherwise, the game will crash if they try to move to the exact same spot that they're already standing in. That's just how it works. This 3, I believe, is how many times they do the Pokeball throwing animation. Like I said, let me actually just pop that again. Like I said, I have her doing it's harder to see when I have them doing the same animation multiple times. But like you'll see it after she turns around. She does 1, 2, 3, and then there's a cut where she's just switching to a different animation, and then she throws the Pokeball 8 times. That is the 8 that I had put, or maybe it's just 6. I wasn't actually counting. It might be this. This is 5e. This is the animation right here. It might just be this, but it might be this whole thing. And then this is how many times they do it, right? Do it, and then 2 times, and then some other stuff. I'm sorry, that was very bad, but that's all I really know. That's trainer sightlines and how they move. I believe this EE was the office workers' sightlines, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. I mostly just know how to move them right now. I will make a new video once this is more concrete, but I wanted to get everything that I know out as soon as I could, because it might help other people find out how to do it, and that might help me in turn. So that's kind of all I have right now. I know this was long and very rambly, and I went off topic many times, and I confused myself, but that's kind of how you move trainers and items and Pokeballs, as well as BerryTrees, which is neat. I guess I can actually show off the BerryTrees while I'm here. Let's go to the berry fields. Okay, here's the berry fields. Some trainers I was having issues. This is actually an example of a trainer that I couldn't find his sightline for, and I couldn't figure out how to alter it and make it longer, so I had to put him in front of the exit to the BerryTrees so that he was less avoidable, so that as soon as you exit, he sees you. That was one of my workarounds for not being able to change his vision distance, but I'm still figuring that part out. Okay, so let's say that you're done editing everything, right? And you want to import all of it back into the game. Now, I'm going to show how to do this the easy way and the hard way, so, you know, just like before, let's go to that real quick. The easy way is just using the Overworld script editor from the Strackeror version. Let's go back to 10 Carat Beach, because that's what this is. If you hover over it, it'll tell you which one it is. This is EDEI0, so we're going to open EI, and 0 is this file. You can see, you can actually just check the code to make sure it's the same. I actually can't highlight this, but you can see that it is the same as the code in ImHex here that we have seen. So, you know, once you're ready, just import. Just make sure you import the right one, because they all have similar names. Don't do the wrong one. If you overwrite the file, you might brick everything. Don't do that. Make sure that you're importing the correct one. Be careful. I'm warning you right now. Import it, and you'll be good. Now, the new version is imported. I have all of my item changes in here. Remember, if you are changing the item quantity, do not, once you've changed the quantity, don't ever change the items in here, because it will change the quantity back to 1. Warning you right now. Also, don't hit save. That will do the same thing. It's already saved. Once you import, you're good. Don't hit save. Just close this. You're good. Import your game back into 3DS, or back into your emulator, I mean. Or into your DS, whatever you're using. I'm using Azahar emulator, which is just a fork of Citra, it's basically just Citra. You can go ahead and open your mods folder, and everything should be good. You can just put it in here, just like prompts, and then put your whole A folder in here, or just the files you edited. I put the whole A folder in here because I'm lazy, but just the one you edited, as long as it's the same file path, make sure the file path is correct. It should be A082, right? A082, and you just go ahead and put it right here. Even if your files aren't here, it'll still overwrite the base game files if you're putting it in the mods folder, okay? Make sure the path is the same. If the path is not exactly this will look the same for you, by the way. If you're using Ultra Sun, it'll be this number. It'll look slightly different if you're Ultra Moon, but this number, Romphs A082, okay? If you put it in there, you're good. That's just how the mods folder in general works. You can put anything in there and it'll replace the old stuff, like your stuff, but this isn't a tutorial on that, so let's not get into that. That was the easy way. Let's do it the hard way, which is basically the same, where instead of just importing it, you can go in a regular PK3DS, not just the Strackeror version. You can go to unpack, and instead of unpacking, we're going to do the reverse. You can just take the whole 2G folder. You don't even have to repack these, I don't believe. You can just repack the entire 2G folder. I might be lying. Maybe you do have to actually repack this. It's probably safer to repack it. I'm just going to do the whole folder because I'm not going to use this anyway. Either way, drag the whole folder to this second box. This top one is for unpacking. This second one is for repacking. You can delete the folder after packing, or you can keep it if you want to continue editing, but this folder is going to have to be gone from your A folder when it's actually in your game. Either way. I'm just going to delete the folder after packing. You don't have to do that. Either way, do this. Hit yes if you are Sun and Moon, which you should be, because this tutorial is not for X and Y and ORAS. Just hit yes. Okay, it failed because you do need to... you do need to do that thing I said. You have to repack any folders you've made. This is a folder of 0ED. We are going to be repacking it. Now it's repacked, which... it's actually a bit concerning that it is not a bin file. Will changing this to a bin file be fine? Probably. Make sure it's named the exact same as the old one, and that you actually remove the old one from existence. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. It's fine. Kill the old one. Replace it with its imposter. And this should be correct. If I open it, it should have all the stuff in there, although the file is much bigger if you don't decompress it. But it still actually has the pattern and stuff in here. So if I were to import the trainers and trees highlight, it'll exist. Let me make this bigger. It'll exist in here. It's just going to be much more spread out. And the reason I don't tell you to do this is because this is a false positive. This is the false positive I was talking about. If you just import the entire ED file, it'll find stuff that's not real. It says it's a berry tree because there's a 0B there that I'm using to detect the berry tree. This is not a berry tree. This is a false positive. This is another false positive. This is what I mean. So that's why I just followed this tutorial, okay? Where are the real things, though? I think this is real trainers. Yes, these are the real trainers. And it looks like they're correct. Yep, these are right. Okay. So yeah, this is the correct file. As long as it is okay, then we should just be able to repack this folder like before. Make sure you hit yes, because this is Sun and Moon. Kind of. It might take a second because the folder is kind of big and I decompressed every single file in the folder. Did it work? I hope I didn't brick it. I bricked it. Okay, you know what? Oh, it's because these exist. What are these? Oh, it was trying to repack it, but why did it break? Hey, you know what? That's not relevant anymore. I said you could do it the easy way or the hard way, but I'm clearly bricking up the hard way by trying to show it twice. So instead, just do it the way I said, where you get the Strackeror version, and just import the file, okay? You import, export, and it works. That's the best way to do it. Once you've done it, you can just put it in the A082 in your mods folder, and it will load properly. And it should show up in game. If you are editing a location, I will warn you, if you're editing a location, you will have to... I don't need to open this. You will have to load and reload the area. If you're currently in the area, exit the area and come back, and it'll reload everything, and then your people or your items will be in their new locations. It won't work if you're just putting it in and you save and are in the same area, okay? Just reload the zone, is what I'm saying. That should be basically everything. I really hope I'm not forgetting anything. but that's kind of all I know. Okay. Okay. With that, I think that's everything for now. Like I said, I would like assistance for making this better, so if you find anything, please message me on Discord, which I will put in the link. There is a ROM hacking Discord that people use for Gen 6 and 7. That's X and Y, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, and Ultra Sun and Moon for 3DS ROM hacking. I'll put the link to that Discord in the description as well if you need either assistance or want to assist other people. That's about it. This has been very long. It's a very long tutorial. I'm sorry. I'll try to split it into correct sections and stuff, but it's what I have for now, and hopefully there is more to come on editing this game, and, you know, I'll post a better version of this and of my patterns if new ones are created, so hopefully we can update that. But for now, that's it. If you like the video, subscribe. I do Nuzlocke and stuff also. Okay, bye! Bye!